we're going to talk about the Halifax Wanderers. In a bit of an interesting spot at the moment. Fifth still level on points with York. They're both on 26 because they both got a draw this weekend. Three now behind Cavalry. Halifax go up 2-0 at Pacific in what was arguably a must-win game for Pacific FC. All looks great for Halifax, but then their former player, Aiden Daniels, has other ideas. He has a goal and assist, and it ends 2-2. So now the Wanderers are winless in 6. AGR, I know the pressure wasn't on them in this game because Pacific needed the win far more than the Wanderers did. But are you a little disappointed if you're Patrice Geyser with even the last few weeks of this team?
Yeah, because they really had a chance to cement top three. Because it's funny, we mentioned how maybe poor the Wanderers have been in recent games. I mean, look, it's without a win now. They lost 4 in a row. They've picked it up a bit, back-to-back draws, both on the
Yeah.
road. That's not the worst thing in the world to pick up back-to-back draws. But considering that form, to see them still 3 points behind third, you think, man, that's a real missed opportunity. And the big worry is just what's going on defensively. That you conceded 3 against Pacific in early July. You concede 2 against Ottawa. Concede 2 against Forge. You concede 2 to Vancouver at home. Of course, on Natal Day, get a clean sheet in Cavalry. Maybe a bit of a sign that things are back on track. And then you take a 2-0 lead and you concede 2 goals. I just feel like Halifax has lost a bit of their early season defensive juice, and that's tough because that was the biggest reason behind where they were. Offensively, they have some questions to figure out and will be figured out. Of course, they parted ways with Giorgio Probo, so their attack is changing. But man, they got to figure out a way to get back to what was working defensively earlier in the year. And I think then on top of that, the offense is a bit of a secondary question. Although scoring 2 goals, Thiago Coimbra getting back on the score sheet, those are all positives that they'll be able to build off of.
Yeah. Those are huge. I mean, I think you like how much life you saw from Sean Rea in this game. Creates 5 chances. He looks much more dangerous than I think he has in a lot of other games recently. But yeah, as you mentioned, AGR, like this team earlier in the year was, so much fun to watch defend, right? You'd see them make these blocks and these tackles and they'd be celebrating them. And it just felt like a demoralizing battle for an opposing team to try and score on the Halifax Wanderers. And Halifax were kind of relishing challenging teams to come and try to score on them. But now it's just getting a little bit easier for opposing teams to find that way through. And you can see the confidence dipping a little bit, the shoulder sagging a little bit when the ball goes in. So frankly, they go into Friday night against Valor under more pressure than they would have been if they'd held on, right? You go back home. It is a long road trip. They looked pretty good in Calgary the week before when they got that 0-0 draw. Arguably could have got a little bit more out of it. And I know Patrice was pretty happy with that game. But you still don't have a lot to show for the last really month and a half even. So, you find yourself in pretty good position still to fight for that third place spot, but you see Cavalry maybe starting to figure it out and starting to score goals, and you feel some pressure now to keep up because if you're Halifax, you definitely, you at the very least want to come third or fourth because you need a home game in the playoffs. And you would certainly rather it be the third place one because of the format. But, let's touch quickly on Pacific, though, because, again, needed a win, didn't get one. Do we give them some credit for showing a sign of life and coming back from 2-2 or from 2-0 down?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think that adds another point to their docket in terms of them being the one of only behind Ottawa in terms of the points they've rescued this year. So like credit to them. It's obviously tough because they'd like to start games better, and this was a huge opportunity. A 4-point gap between them and Halifax is a very manageable gap. And I think what's tough is Pacific have been not good on the road this year. They only picked up their first road win against Vancouver, which is the easiest trip. In their next 3 games, it's York away, Valor away, Ottawa away. Then, of course, they return to the island for that rare downtown game, at Royal Athletic Park against Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's Halifax away, Forge away. Like 5 of their next 6 are all on the road.
That's
All
tough. That's really hard, man.
That's why this game was huge for them. So you can get it to
Yeah.
4, especially you look at that Halifax game in about a month and a half's time. You think, okay, maybe by then, if they can still be in the race, wow. But this next road stretch is absolutely brutal. And considering they just completely had to rejig their back line because they lost Finn Tugwell and Eric Lajeunesse, I guess it's going to be tough. So at the same time, Pacific keep finding a way to make things interesting year after year. And even within this season, at one point, they look dead and buried. So I wouldn't count them out completely, but definitely one where they'll feel, definitely Halifax is feeling a lot better about the draw, even though they blew the 2-goal lead, just because it keeps that gap to 7.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we mentioned, they play York this weekend, and that again can have a similar effect to what a win versus Halifax would have had, right? Because York are also on 26 points, so maybe that's the team that you can reel in if you're Pacific. And so you know what, we're gonna call that one must win as well if you're Pacific FC, but certainly pressure on York as well to get that one at home.